Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. In celebration of Father's Day, should we even call it Father's Month? We want to talk about fatherhood, and we have an amazing guest who's going to tell us more about how we can be better fathers. So I believe fathers need to watch this video, but mothers as well. So keep watching. As you know, Canary Hotel is an amazing partner for this channel, and they have an amazing initiative called the Family Fun Day. It happens every Sunday at Canary Gardens. Enjoy activities like games, painting, arts and crafts, trampoline, swimming, bouncing castle, and so much more. Come for the Family Fun Day every Sunday at Canary Gardens, located in Chanja. See you there. Our lovely guest is here. Mr. Sam, welcome to the channel.
Thank you very much, Lisa. It's a pleasure to be here.
Oh, thank you so much.
I have been watching this channel for quite some time.
Are you sure?
And there is a lot of value that you are giving to the world.
Thank you so much.
So it's a pleasure to be part of it today.
Thank you. And I've heard a lot about you. Rumor has it you are a good father.
Interesting. Good to know that. Good to hear that from you. I don't know who spread the rumor.
People were spreading rumors that you are a good father, and I thought you'd be perfect for this conversation. So welcome to the channel, and tell them who you are and what you do.
My name is Samuel A. Bakutana. I am a certified executive coach. I'm an award-winning leadership consultant. 2022, I was the recipient of the Leadership Impact Award in Uganda under Vine Awards. Wow. I am a global speaker. I've had the opportunity to speak on all the 6 continents of this world by God's grace. And I am an author. I have so far written 20 books in the areas of leadership, business, education, and relationships. Wow. And I lead the team at Inspired Leaders International as the Chief Executive Officer. Inspired Leaders International is an international leadership development firm that empowers leaders to transform nations. Wow. And outside my professional work, I volunteer as the provincial or national president of the Fathers Union in Uganda. I am a married man, married to one wife who is a female woman, Miss Universe, the queen of my heart, Honorable Charity, my watermelon. And together we have 2 children, a boy and a girl. The boy is called Prosper and the girl is called Petra. It's a pleasure to be here today.
Mouth drop. Wow, that's so amazing.
Thank you.
And Watermelon, if you're watching this, we are happy to have him here. That was amazing. So what does Inspiring Leaders exactly do?
Inspired Leaders International, like I said, it is an international leadership development firm that empowers leaders to transform nations. So our heart, our passion, our desire is to see better leaders all over the world. We work hard to plant transformational, exemplary, and authentic leaders worldwide on 7 mountains of influence. We work hard to plant transformational leaders on the mountain of politics and governance. So we've worked a lot with governments, with parliaments, and so on and so forth. On the mountain of business and economy, so we've trained many CEOs, MDs, heads of departments in private business entities. But also in the media, we empower media people, so that mountain of media, the mountain of family, just like you've heard, I am also now doing a lot of work in the world of fathers and empowering fathers to be good leaders in their family. And then all these other mountains of influence, like arts, where we have culture, sports, music and entertainment, in education. So we simply plant leaders on the different mountains of influence. And we do that through certified executive coaching, through leadership and management consultancy, through designing mentorship programs for peer mentorship within institutions. We've just done that for some bank, where we designed a mentorship program for them in-house to develop leaders within. We do retreat facilitation and high-level panel corporate moderation. So we empower leaders to transform nations.
Amazing. Yes. I love that.
Thank you.
And you have 2 amazing children.
Yes, they are. They are so amazing.
They are amazing.
They are so amazing. I fear to say it, but they may.
Say it.
Well, just get ready. My children, God being our helper, will be wonderful leaders on this continent.
Amazing.
Yeah.
We can't.
So let me just keep it at that.
Okay, you're trying to be humble, but okay, that's amazing. Okay, so as we celebrate Father's Day, we want to talk about fatherhood, you know, and society has made it seem like mothers are doing more. We're not. What are fathers doing? Are you there? You know, what's your thought on this, and how do you think fathers can take their place?
I hear about two questions in that. In one, you've talked about, first of all, where society has made it seem.
Yeah, seem.
So I'm hearing three things. I'm hearing the risk of generalization, that mothers are doing all the work. That is generalization. We have some mothers who are so terrible, they don't deserve to be called mothers. They should simply be called woman, not lady, not mother. And then there are mothers who are doing a terrific job. They are amazing. They should get gold medals. When we say Heroes Day, they should be the ones to be celebrated.
That's true.
So there are mothers who are doing amazing things. There are mothers who are doing terrible things. So there is a risk of generalization, saying mothers are doing all the work. That's generalization. But I also hear some futility of accusation where we keep saying that men are not doing their work. Who are we talking about when we say men?
Which men?
Because I am a man and I know I'm really doing my work, very committed, very devoted. I am a conscious, intentional father, I can tell you. I am a conscious, intentional husband. I can tell you that. So that risk of generalization and the futility of accusation always, somehow you bring them together, then you have a whole generation of men who feel battered down, and you have a whole generation of women who feel glorified. So putting that aside, you've talked about the place of the father. The father, first and foremost, is a spiritual leader in the home. He is a priest. He's supposed to ensure that in the home there is spiritual growth. There is spiritual activity. There is connection with the divine. Because, when we are praying, we say, Our Father who art in heaven. So we get that wonderful responsibility and name fashioned after the Almighty, who is an Almighty Father. So we are also called Father. We are supposed to be connecting our families to the Heavenly Father. But secondly, a father is a family educator. He's supposed to be instructing his family in how they should be doing things. Supposed to teach. He is an educator. In fact, the word education, people think it is, getting knowledge and you pour into an empty child. But that's not true. The word education comes from the Latin word educare or educare, which actually means drawing out what is already there. So education is not pouring into. Education is drawing out. It is easier to pour into than it is to draw out. You can pour into from a distance and also once in a while. You can't draw out by remote. You must be so close and continuous. And that's why God ensured that the father is supposed to be there full time, because he is an educator, to be able to observe what's going on in the life of the child and know what to draw out, to call it forth, as we shall be sharing in the next coming minutes. So the father, his place is a place of an educator, an instructor in good living, an instructor of responsible living. The father is also a material provider, and I think he's so much well known for that.
That's the one we like,
because we benefit a lot from it.
I know, he must provide.
Provider. But yes, indeed, he is.
True.
Of course, recently I had an interesting conversation with some ladies. We were talking about Proverbs 31. It's a very common one. They talk about the Proverbs 31 woman. You realize that she is an amazing provider, but many women don't see that. The Proverbs 31 woman is a terrific provider. Of course, I always remind men that there is a Proverbs 31 man. From verse 1 to verse 9, they don't talk about that one. We must talk about that one. So the point here is, the place of the father in a home is to provide materially, and also to be an enabler of identity. I will borrow this from the Jewish culture. They believe that the father must do three things to the son specifically. One, teach him or instruct him in the law of the Lord. And then secondly, teach him a skill so that he can do a trade that can give him income. And then thirdly, ensure you help him to find a woman, to find a wife.
3. Wow, the woman, I love that one.
So when you put them together, you see there is one thread running through, and that's one word: identity and actually destiny. Because if somebody now knows, you know, the law, the precepts of the Lord, he's connected with his Creator, he can do some things and earn an income, and he has a helper in his life, he is going somewhere. So the place of the father in a home is to ensure that he enables destiny, that he imparts identity. And as he does that, he gives physical protection. So by and large, you know, the word father comes from the Greek word Abba, which means the source. So by and large, in conclusion, the place of the father is to be a source of identity, a source of destiny, a source of provision, a source of security, a source of everything positive: education, instruction, direction, leadership, all that. That's the place of the father. That's why when he's not in his place,
there's a problem.
Trust me, there will be a problem.
Yeah.
Because something will sit in that place. Yeah.
You know, that was so powerful, you know. And you know, as you're introducing yourself,
yes,
you said so many things. You're a leader, you are a mentor, coach, etc.
Yeah, and you also accused me rightly of being a good father,
dad.
So
that's why I was asking, how do you get, because it's important for us to learn also from your experience.
Yes.
Because men struggle to juggle. How do you do all that, shine in all that, provide, as you've told us how you're doing all this provision, and then also be present at home? Please tell us.
Lisa, honestly speaking, you have just asked a question of priorities, period. This is a question of priorities. I always say that whatever is a priority in your life will always find time in your schedule and money in your pocket. Whatever is a priority in your life, Lisa Kusima, Mama King, will always find time in your schedule and money in your pocket. So the point here is, how come I have time to go and share with Lisa? Why don't I have time to sit down and talk with Petra, my daughter? It means I have prioritized this. You see? So it's a question of priority. So when you say, how do I do that? To be honest with you, I straightened out my priorities in life. And to always remember them, I codenamed them my 4 P's of my life. Number 1, in this order, I am a person. So I prioritize my relationship with the one who made me a person. And you can be sure it's not my father, it's not my mother. It is my Creator. I take that relationship very seriously.
So you spend time with God?
I do. In His Word, in prayer, in meditation, in the ministry that He sends me to do. Secondly, I am a partner. So, after my relationship with my Creator, as a man, I prioritize my relationship with my wife. My wife is the most important human relationship to me.
Please,
Okay.
Still those in the back. The husband's in the back to me.
Because one thing I don't want to do, Lisa, is to make my wife a widow when I'm still alive. I don't think it's a good idea.
It's like you're not there.
You're present but absent. You know, they used to tell us about absenteeism in school. But there is presentism in the home. Presentism, whereby you are present but you're not there. You know. And then number 3, I am a parent. So after my relationship with my Creator who made me a person and my relationship with my partner, I am a parent. So I give attention to my relationship with my children, Petra and Prosper. I have come to know that what matters most is not the presents that I give to them, but the presence that I give to them. So I prioritize my presence in their life, not the presence I bring to them.
Practically, how does that look like?
Time, being there for them, creating time, talking with each one of them, going out with them, going to play games with them in the compound, playing indoor games in our sitting room, running around, kicking balls with my son, and so on and so forth. We do things together. So prioritizing them. There are moments I mean, I'm a speaker. I go all over the place, training and consulting as a coach, etc. But there are moments when I have gotten invitations. Somebody calls me and says, we would like you to come and, speak to our staff on this and this date. So I quickly check my diary. I don't know what I would do without it.
Yeah.
Recently, I talked with one of our staff members. He's called Jesse. I said, but this person who innovated the diary was God sent. So I look at that date, and I say, I'm sorry, I'm not available. I'm engaged on that day. And for them, they think I will be speaking somewhere. Cool. When actually I have seen on that date I had indicated I am supposed to be at home spending the whole day with my children, and I don't want to change it because of money. Day. Oh, yes. And then the last P is professional, wow, which represents everything else I do outside my family. So now back to your question. Where do I get time to do all the things I do and still give time to my family? Priorities.
I love when you've said that, if you've scheduled it, you have time for your family, yes, you will not cancel it because of money.
Yes.
And you're self-employed, right?
Yes,
This is your business.
Yes.
So, sometimes for men being self-employed, you feel like if I don't do it, the company may not thrive. I'm missing this
and let me tell you, there is a lot of truth in that. You see, when you are employed, you have a lot of buffer. You have a lot of fallback position. You know that at the end of the month you must be paid, whether the business is going on, it's not going on. Yeah. They will pay you. But you don't know what they go through in the background to ensure that happens. So for them, it's a different game altogether. Yeah. A friend of mine called Robert, one time he's an entrepreneur. He said, Samuel, you are not yet an entrepreneur until at the end of the month you pay for the rent for the office, you pay for water, electricity bill, and pay all the salaries, security, compound maintenance, and then realize you don't have transport to go home that evening. That you are not yet an entrepreneur until you reach that point. So yeah.
So imagine you'd rather let that money go.
Oh yes.
But spend time with your children.
Priorities and long-term view of life.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love that.
Because if I am, look at this, Lisa. If I am going to be busy putting together the money and claiming I am preparing a future for my children, but I have no time to spend with them and prepare them for the future, then I have forgotten that what matters most is not what I live for my children, but what I live in my children. That's why I make some of those decisions.
I love it. Yeah. Oh, amazing. So we have, I think there was a statistic in UBOS recently talking about, I think 5% of fathers are present. Only 5%, and we're having more fatherless and fatherless families, What do we need to do? Because there is a miss somewhere. Yeah.
In fact, that was from Ideas Factory. I think they did some work with the UBOS. It was a group called Ideas Factory. I saw that research and it was very painful. Very painful. That only 5% of fathers are meaningfully in the life of their children. And they said, I think about 10%, and that was in Uganda specifically, to give it context. I think they said 10% they have fathered children they don't know. Yeah. And then they said 45% are not even there at all. It was a very depressing kind of statistic. And I think, to your question, the beginning point is creating that awareness and being aware of these facts. For example, if I could add to the statistics, Rotary International, this year, District Governor Kakembo, who is the District Governor for Rotary International, I think District 9211, the one of Uganda and so on and so forth. When he came into office, he declared that his term of office is going to be focused on uplifting the boy child. Because that's what they do in Rotary International. Every governor in his 1 year of office determines the focus of Rotary in the country according to his or her passion. So for him, he focused on the boy child. They started the BCUP, the Boy Child Uplifting Project, which is now being led by Mrs. Jennifer Sensua, whom I'm going to be hosting on some TV in the coming days, to talk about the boy child. So they did research so that it can be the underlying basement for their
Baseline.
work for the whole year. And it's amazing what they found out. They went to all the prisons of Uganda. They found there 74,444 prisoners. 74,000. To round it up, 74,000, okay?
Yeah.
Out of 74,000, 70,424 were males. A whooping 94.6%, our sons are in prison.
Yeah.
They went to remand homes. They went to Naguru, they went to Kampirinjisa. In one of them, they found there 156 young inmates who are between 12 and 17 years of age. And out of 156, 153 were boys.
Yeah.
They went to the next one. They found there 161 inmates. 161 were boys. 100%.
Yeah.
So as we talk about fatherhood, we need to give it a context. And one thing we can do to help out is to first cause this awareness for people to know how serious it is. And now, amidst all that kind of catastrophic pandemonium around the father, the boy, the man, they also found out that 87% of all the gender-based interventions in the country are still focusing on the woman, still focusing on the girl.
Yeah.
Okay. So what do we need to do? We need to realize that the problem is big and also go to know the causes of this.
Yeah. What's the cause?
Because, for example, when you talk about fatherless families, some of them are fatherless because the fathers died. They are just not there.
Yeah.
They are not there.
Yeah.
I grew up in such a family. My father died when I was 12 years of age. He died on day one of the first term in primary 7. I had just reached that school for the first term, first day in primary 7, and they came back to pick me to go back home. Your father has died.
Oh, no.
At 12. So I grew up without a father, not because he was not available, but because he was dead.
Yeah.
But then there are those families that are fatherless because of we talked about priorities, because of bad priorities of the men.
Yeah.
Those men, they are busy doing jobs. They are busy in search for money.
Chasing.
Yes. Other families are fatherless because of early sexual exposure. There is a lot of that all around us, you know. And that's why we have a lot of teenage pregnancies. And when a young girl of 13, 14, 15 years gets pregnant, he's been, you know, impregnated by a young boy of the same age. So he just runs away.
Yeah.
So now we will have a fatherless home, you see. Then there is this other big animal of the desire for a number of women to become very independent. That's why we now have the big influx of single motherhood that is voluntary.
Yeah.
So then there is a lot of fatherlessness there. You see,
I want to have a child. I don't need a man.
Oh yeah, let me make this confession here because I've ever told this to my wife. We even talked about it this morning. Some years ago, a lady came to me and said, I just need your seed. I will never tell anybody that you are the father of this child. For me, I just like the way you do things. I like your mind and the way you think.
These are good genes.
This is it. So now a child like that, if I went ahead and did that, God forbid, thank God I didn't and I can't do that, then that child is born and the mom will never show him or her the father, and there will be that fatherless family. But then for other people, they have fatherless families because of the unmentored boys who grow up to become irresponsible dads.
Yeah.
And that plays into the statistics that we were talking about. So the pandemic of fatherlessness is more or less a reward, quote unquote, but mostly better put, a consequence of neglected boys, because boys don't stay boys. They grow up to become man. You know, he becomes a man. We've been talking of street children. They never remain street children. They become street men. They become street women. And they are the ones who are giving the flying kicks I've been seeing online.
It's terrible.
It's very terrible, you know. So what do we need to do? The beginning point is sharing what I'm sharing. Plus many more things that we can talk about, you know, here.
That's scary. And you
it's
know,
the truth.
Yeah, and also another thing that maybe we also need to mention here, as women, the kind of men we choose.
Yes.
Because so many times we choose love, we forget that there is a bigger purpose. This man that you're going to choose, my dear, is going to hold this generation. So also be wise in the choice.
And sometimes you claim you are choosing love, but you've just chosen lust, you've just chosen infatuation, and you call it love. Because it's all about feelings. You have not yet understood love if you're still talking about feelings.
Yeah.
It's until I hear you talk of commitment, decision, that now I know, I think you know some bit of love. You know.
So how can we encourage men to be more intentional on this journey? Because many men know these things.
Yes.
We know.
Hopefully they know.
Sometimes
we assume they know.
Anyway, we assume, you know. But how do we encourage them to be more intentional?
Yeah. The answer is quite self-explanatory because it is hidden in your question. Encourage men to be intentional. Of course, now we are going to get into the details, but I wanted us to first not miss that is the cradle. One, encourage, not bash, not hit on the head, not nag, not shame them. There is a question I've been asking recently because of another common question. Men, where are you? Men, where are you? And you find it is being asked by a woman whose man we don't see. So I've been saying, before you say men, where are you? Can you please first show us where your one man is? Because you are a helper. You were created to help one man. You failed to help one man. And then you start to call, CEO Inspired Leaders International. You are meeting many men. Where are the men? You are the Fathers Union President. Where are the men? First, give accountability where your one man is. Then we can look for the rest of the men. So it's not about bashing, it's not about shaming. You've used the very right word, encourage. Many men now just need encouragement to be able to play their responsibilities well, to play their roles. But you've also used the word intentional. And rightly so. This is what we are supposed to be equipping men to be deliberate. For them to know that intentionality is the birthplace for all the miracles we are looking for. So how do we do that? To begin with, we need to remind men about active presence. Because part of being an intentional father is being present actively. Because you can be in your home, but you are not filled.
Yeah, that's true.
We teach this in the Certificate in Public Speaking and Presentation Mastery, Leaders International, where we say that you can be present on stage, but your presence is weak on stage. That works exactly the same in families. I can be there physically, but I am not active, I am not engaged, I am not involved in my family. So reminding them about active presence. But then secondly, they need to participate in home activities. Home chores,
many men are
washing plates, cooking food. We need to be involved as men, I'm telling you. Many times when I get into that kitchen, yes I do, many times when I get into that kitchen and cook food, I am telling you, I see a new life in the home.
They can't believe it.
They can't believe it because I've done it many times, but it's something they really love.
Look forward to.
Because again, it doesn't come every day, right?
That's
so every time it comes, it is something. It's a bonding moment. And those moments you see the children open up, ask questions, talk, and so on and so forth. So participating in home activities. Also, the encouragement for them to be intentional, we need to show fathers what is at stake. I think many times we don't know what is at stake. We think all is well, but a lot is at stake. A man needs to know. I'm going to say some two names so that our viewers can be curious and go and Google what I'm about to say. I will not say any details. A man needs to know that if he doesn't pay attention and be intentional, he will be Max Jukes instead of being Edward Jonathan.
Please.
He will be Max Jukes instead of being Edward Jonathan. The story is long about those two. A simple Google will give you a lot.
Please, go check it out, guys.
Yes. So showing men what is at stake. And then also helping men to be curious learners. Learn from good fathers who went ahead of us. Learn from books on parenting, on fatherhood, on marriage. Learn from seminars. I always go to speak in different seminars, and you usually find that there are women. The men are not there. I am on the school board where my children go to. I am the parents' representative on the school board. So I'm always there looking at the visiting days and the parents. Mothers are filling the place. And so in that school, in fact, we had to put up some sort of a campaign to say, fathers, for us we are fathers of a difference in this school. And one time recently, at the beginning of the term, we agreed and we said, as fathers, we are all going to come and be at the gate. As the term begins, we will be the ones welcoming teachers, welcoming our children, coming with some of them. And it was quite a spectacle that morning. Later, one of the teachers told me that there was a specific young boy who is about 5-6 years, that every time they drop him at school at the gate, he cries as they leave him. But that day, he was welcomed by men, and I was told he never cried that day.
Wow.
So I don't know whether it was coincidence or there is something that happened when there was a dad figure saying, welcome to the new term.
And Sam, do you think it's also a bit on identity, because this provision thing has been, the pressure is too much on the men.
Extremely.
That their identity begins to be, it's me who makes this money, and not identity on God is our provider.
Exactly.
And if I be present and miss that money and miss that meeting, it's okay. I'm ministering to my children and God will provide for me.
You know.
Yeah,
it's a big challenge. And we, like I said a few minutes ago, there is a Proverb 31 woman who is a very serious provider, but we also have God, our Heavenly Father, who is Jehovah Jireh, my provider, the one who looks at what is happening and does something about it in the way of provision. So we shouldn't make the man to be the assistant God of the family. We should keep God in his place as the ultimate source of everything, as the Abba Father, as the provider, you know, the Lord our provider. And then the Father comes in as a representative of sorts, who is more of a conduit of what God is providing for the family, and he brings it to the family faithfully. And then hopefully the people in the family use it responsibly.
Responsibly. I know we made West and all the work that's in vain.
Yes,
you know.
That's true. It happens.
Yeah. So I want to talk about something. You know, I know I talk about fatherhood, but there's something that I feel is even key. What do you think about the relationship between a husband and wife on building a great and healthy family? Because sometimes the mother does her job, the father does his job. Where is this happening to create a harmonious family? Is there an effect there?
Powerful question, Lisa. Extremely important. And many people haven't realized that.
Yeah.
They don't know that the state of the marriage has an impact on the children.
Yeah.
That the condition of the relationship between my dear Charity, my wife, and myself, that condition, that state, it impacts on how we raise our children.
Yeah.
Because first and foremost, you are a model for life for the children. When they look at you, they see how life should be treated. They look at your shopping manners, they know that's how we should shop. They look at how you deal with cleanliness and hygiene, they know that's how it is supposed to be done.
Yeah.
They look at how you treat each other, husband and wife, they know that is how relationships are supposed to be treated.
Yeah.
So you are a model. As a couple, you are a model. But also, your marriage is the incubation atmosphere for the children. They are in that atmosphere. They are being incubated to become either responsible citizens later, or you are adding another bunch of rogues onto the population of the nation. So for example, if you have a disrespectful marriage, okay, you disrespect your husband disrespects you, you are highly likely to raise arrogant children.
Yeah.
If you are a loving couple, you are highly likely to raise kind children. Because of the love between you and your husband or your wife, you know. Deceitful couples, for example, do you know that they usually raise cunning children?
Yeah.
Because they tell lies to the boy realizes, oh, okay,
That
so
is how
daddy
it
lies.
happens.
So that's how. So he becomes a small devil. He becomes very cunning. And if you are a violent couple, you usually raise bitter children. If you're always fighting, so the children have that anger, they have that bitterness within them.
Yeah.
Yet on the other hand, if you are a prayerful couple, you raise children who love and trust in God as the source of their provision.
Yeah.
If you are a couple that communicates effectively, you are highly likely going to raise children who in essence relate meaningfully with other people because of how you communicate together, but also how you together communicate to them as the children. Yet on the other hand, if you are maybe, let me say, a godless couple. If you are a godless couple, you will raise insensitive, inhuman children.
Yeah.
So you see, it's very important that we work on our marriage, because it is within the atmosphere of that marriage that the children will be incubated, parented, mentored, ministered unto, modeled for, and raised. If you are, let me even dare go to this other corner online here. If you are sexually fulfilled couples, do you know you are highly likely to raise very happy children?
What's the correlation?
Oh yes. If you as a couple are sexually fulfilled, you meet the needs of each other happily, you have a good relationship in that corner of the house, you know, there is a way you will be exuding joy, and that will rub off on your children. They will become happy children. But if there is a big problem in that quarter, you will see it on your children. It will happen.
They feel it.
They will feel it.
Yeah.
Oh yes, they do. Or if you are a humorous couple and you're always, cracking jokes, dad is cracking a joke, mom is cracking a joke, then you are highly likely to produce or raise children who are free in their expression.
Yeah, and communication.
Yes, they express themselves freely, And that's one of the realities in my family. We joke a lot and laugh, and now I see that my children are also doing that increasingly.
Yeah.
My son, we are sitting at the dining table eating, and we are chatting, on the family table, and then you hear him drop a line and you say, wow, okay.
Funny, that's funny, yeah. Because I think we are getting better, maybe, for so to speak, because back in the day, our fathers or people's fathers, like, you see your father, you just run away. Like, you don't even, and I think
there is no freedom.
There's no freedom, there's no conversation, a bit of just being able to talk to your father if you have a challenge.
No,
and I think we're seeing that relationship come out because people maybe know more, know better, and I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, that reminds me, again, this morning I was talking with my wife. In fact, we thought through a lot this topic this morning together for like a whole hour, just chatting through this issue of fatherhood and marriage and etc. So some of the thoughts I'm sharing, they came from my wife actually. Yeah, that's a very important acknowledgement. Yeah, I remember one of the things she talked about, like if the couple is united, somehow the children become cooperative. So there is that impact. If the couple is honest, you end up raising disciplined children.
Yeah.
So really, in conclusion, as your marriage is, so shall your children be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I really love that, and I got also to learn. I think you earlier talked about being intentional about reading on parenting and etc. You know how we go into our workplace and before you're going to speak, you prepare. You do all these things. But things like parenting, marriage, sometimes we want them to. There's no preparation. You just want to be like a waterfall, just flowing on the go. And it's important that people actually grab these books.
Your analogy.
Yeah, like a waterfall, it's just flowing. So things must flow. And I read somewhere where they said we are parenting for eternity.
Oh yes.
So when you talked about there is a bigger issue, we shouldn't just be looking about, okay, you're providing for them, for here and what. We are parenting.
A lot is at stake.
A lot is at stake. It's literally your child's life.
Yes, parenting has eternal consequences.
Exactly.
And it has generational impact.
Yeah.
Dr. Miles Monroe one time was talking about something to do with learning and in the context of parenting. And he said, knowledge, just like ignorance, are generational in nature. Then he went on and explained. He said, what you know will be passed on to your children.
Yeah.
And equally what you don't know will be passed on to your children.
Yeah.
That ignorance will also be passed on to your children.
Yeah.
And that's why we must be continuous, perpetual, lifelong learners of these things.
I love it.
Look at, you find somebody is a mechanical engineer. Is there anybody who becomes a mechanical engineer without going to class to study? Is there anybody who becomes a surgeon without going to class?
Zero.
Is there anybody who becomes, mention them, without studying, without being equipped? Why do we think you can just get into marriage and start without studying, without learning? You can just, make somebody, please pardon my language because now I'm getting very incensed, that you can just make somebody pregnant and then the child is just put there, downloaded onto earth, and you just move from there. No learning, you have no mentorship. You are your only point of reference. You refer to yourself only.
Daddy has said.
You know, yourself, you are your point of reference. You have not
the
learned
only
from
person.
anybody else. You have no mentors. You have not read the Bible about parenting. You have read no book about fatherhood. You have not read any book on marriage. When they say there is a seminar at the Africana for marriage, you send your wife or you don't even go there.
Time
and you
wasting.
think you are going to be a husband and you think you are going to be a wife. Who are you fooling? Because nobody becomes a doctor by just dreaming about it.
Yeah.
You go and study for 5 years.
Yeah.
In fact, 6. You know. So same thing with these issues of marriage and parenting.
Yeah.
We must know that we are not born as good parents. We are not born as wonderful husbands or wonderful wives. We learn it. We study it. And like I always say, in all the principles of personal development, they say that what you put in is what you get out. So if you put in nothing, you will get it out.
Yeah, you get out nothing. Amazing. Wow, that's so powerful, guys. I hope you're learning. And you talked about something there. You talked about when the parents are united, the kids are disciplined.
Yes.
You know, and we've had lots of families where discipline has been delegated completely to the mothers. And yet when you're reading Proverbs, fathers, do not fathers, do not
you hear the father in
wrath.
Proverbs saying, my son, listen to my instruction.
So, what is the role of fathers when it comes to discipline? Because we know that fathers hold a big role on this.
Yes.
Can you tell us more about that?
That's very important, and thank you for asking that, the role of a father in disciplining the children. It's a big thing. First of all, the father needs to understand that he is that symbol of discipline in the home.
Yeah.
I one time read a book, we were talking about reading. One time read a book by a man called Ed Lewis Cole. The book is called Maximized Manhood.
Okay.
In that book, he says, in a home, a woman can bring in spirituality. But it is only the man who injects strength into that spirituality. That's quite something. And I have seen it in many places. The mother will say, you children, come, let's pray before you go to sleep. And they drag their feet, one comes, then the second one comes later. But the moment dad says, children, it's time for prayer, everybody come. Whoa.
Yeah. No one is dragging.
Why? It's not because, let me say he's any special and has any special abilities, the dad, but it's just because of the divine principle
That
at
has
work.
been given.
There is a divine principle at work. There is a spiritual law that swings into action when the voice of the dad is heard in a home. That's why, even if your man is not providing, he's poor, has no job, he's not, but as long as he is in that home physically, there is a blessing attached to it. Your children will not be turning up like somebody who was not having the dad in the home and only grew up under the guidance of the mom. I grew up with a single mom. I know what I'm talking about, and I have seen many others. I know the battles I've gone through as a young man to grow into a mature man. I know what I have had to do, and the grace of God helping me to become the father I am today, to become the husband I am today. So the place of the father concerning discipline, first and foremost, the father should observe the children's behavior. Because you can't discipline them if you don't see them.
And if you can't see them when you're not there.
Unless you put cameras, and when you come, you go there to check on the cameras what happened in the home
watch
now.
The whole day.
So that's number one. The role of the father in disciplining, number one, is to observe the behavior of the children. Number two is to determine the areas of proactive teaching. Because discipline can be both proactive and reactive. Reactive in a sense of he has just done something, call him and deal with that there and then. That is reactive. But then there is proactive discipline that a father can do, whereby you teach some things in advance so that the children will not make mistakes in those areas. And that means that when they now fall short in those areas, you already have a frame of reference. You say, do you remember what I told you?
About.
So a father concerning disciplining the children needs to also identify those areas of proactive teaching and teach them. And thirdly, the role of the father in disciplining the children is to set values as a standard of lifestyle. Set values in the home. What are the family values?
What do we
What
stand
are your
for?
family values? What do you stand for in a home? What are your family values? For the Bakutana family, our values form the acronym of SLIDE. There are 5 of them, and everybody knows them in the home.
Yeah.
Service, love, integrity, discipline, and excellency. We came together, we talked about them, we agreed upon them. During one of those family vacations, we spent 2 days making that clear together.
Beautiful.
The young one, the old one, we all gave ideas and talked, and I facilitated the whole process as the leader of the home. Now we have our 5 family values. Those are now a basis for reference when I am disciplining my children. I say, Petra, come here. What is the D concerning our values? Discipline. Okay, great. Now, when you look at how you spoke to your brother, Prosper, do you feel that that was good discipline? No, it wasn't, Daddy. So what are we going to do about it? I am sorry. So do you tell it to your brother? Because he is the one that you have not acted well towards. So you apologize. Apologize and say, so we need to do better next time, right? Right, okay. But now there are those values that I use them as a framework for disciplining the house. Guess what? They also hold me accountable to them because I have created that environment in my home.
Everyone.
It's for everyone. It's not for children.
Yeah.
It is for the mother.
And that's the thing.
It is for the father of the home. They call me out, I'm telling you.
Yeah. Because you see, many times we tell children what to do. We tell them, we don't lie. Then tomorrow...
You are on the phone. Where are you? I am here in Chambogo. But they see you seated in Cheva.
The standard is across.
So values are one way how a father disciplines the children.
Yeah.
But then also active listening as the children explain themselves. It's a very important role of the father to always pause and not hurry to take any action when there is a need for disciplining the children, but to simply sit back and patiently listen to the explanation of your boy. Listen to what King has to say.
Yeah.
Listen to the explanation of your girl. Because many times we come out and we volcanically erupt onto our children before we really listen to them. And sometimes they struggle to explain some things because they are still younger, depending on the age of your children. But now for you, because you are already an adult, you are looking at him as he's trying to lie when he's trying to find words to explain. So in disciplining your children, as a father, you need to learn active listening and patiently just wait. Now the other part is anger management. It's a role of the father in disciplining his children. He has to manage his own anger, personal anger management. I learned this one time when I came at home and I found that the wardrobe, the door of the wardrobe in the bedroom of my son was down on the floor. Okay? Hey.
Who did that?
I looked at the wardrobe and the door was down.
Yeah.
So I turned, I immediately saw my daughter and I said, Petra, what happened? Who did this? And then she said, Prosper was swinging on the
Wow. Yeah.
was swinging on the door, and it did what?
Fail.
It fell. First of all, I was so glad it didn't hit him because the story would be different. But then it was at that moment when I stood there, looked at it down, kept quiet, looked at it, kept quiet, looked.
You're like, what?
And I just went to my bedroom and kept quiet. I addressed that issue 3 days later.
When you were calm.
If I had addressed it that very moment, I don't know how I would have addressed it.
Yeah.
I may end up now destroying the confidence of this boy or killing his esteem or distorting his identity by throwing away and say, are you a fool? Now he takes on the identity of foolishness. He thinks he is a fool. But I am doing that in the fit of anger, in that moment of rage. So the role of a father in disciplining his children is to manage himself, to manage his anger, his emotions, his feelings. Do you know, Lisa, why it's called parenting, not kidding or childing? So because parenting is actually about the parent.
It starts with you.
It's about the parent maturing to be able to handle a child. The child is being a child.
The child is...
It is you who is forcing him to act like a mature person.
Yeah.
How can he, my daughter is a teenager, she's 14. How can she behave like me.
you. And that's the thing, we want them to act like us, to think like a 30-year-old.
You see?
Yeah.
And then maybe one last thing I think about concerning the role of a father in disciplining the child is redemptive discipline. The father has to do what we call redemptive discipline. Redemptive discipline is largely possible where the father is connected to the Heavenly Father. Where he is not connected to the Heavenly Father, redemptive discipline is now is not in that house.
It can't, yeah.
Because when it comes to redemptive discipline, it is whereby you have that corrective conversation that is led by the Bible. Yeah. I don't know whether I should share what I'm feeling in my mind. Anyway, let me share it without diverging into many details. One time I found my son on the balcony of our home, looking somewhere where he was not supposed to be looking. So I called him and I said, Prosper, that's not good. So just come and get inside. That was something to do with some neighbor at a distance. So now, curiously, he goes inside the house, goes through the sitting room, goes through the corridor, goes to his bedroom, and still starts to see through his window.
So you have not worked on what? Yeah.
And because I am connected with my Heavenly Father, many times His Spirit tells me something.
Something is not right.
So I was in the sitting room and I felt, I stood up and I went to his bedroom, and behold, he was in the window. So I got him, took him to the sitting room, said, bring your Bible.
Right.
Bring mine also. There was a specific story in the Bible that was so relevant for that situation. That story was talking about what somebody did, the consequences that came out, and the generational impact on his descendants and how it was terrible. So I said, open this book. He opened. And then we read together. I said, do you see why I was stopping you from doing what you were doing?
Yeah.
You need to know that when I tell you something, I am coming from somewhere.
Yeah.
So see what God is showing you. And you really could see that this young man was broken.
He got it.
He got the point based on God's word. We call that redemptive discipline. You discipline by redeeming his soul, by rescuing his spirit, using the word of God.
Beautiful.
So the father has a big role to play in disciplining the children.
Oh, we have learned a lot.
Yeah.
And we have learned all these things that are nice about fathers and their role, etc. Like you mentioned earlier, there are families where the father is now not there. Either he has passed on and now we are dealing,
He's not there.
He's not there at all. So now there's nothing we can do about that. How?
Did you say, he has passed on?
Oh, he has either passed on or he's not present at all.
Oh, yes.
We can't change that. That's what it is. How can we as mothers, single mothers out there, fill that gap?
Oh, yeah.
Or find a way of filling it? What do we do?
That's a very important question, Lisa. I always want to go back to the root of things.
Yeah.
So when we say that this man is not there anymore, or he's out of the picture, why? I know that some of them, it's because someone has died, like it happened in the case of my dad.
Yeah.
But then you may find for some other people, the father is not in the picture simply because there has been a separation, simply because a few months ago you divorced, simply because there has been a conflict, and so you've given yourself a time out. That's what I hear people call it, but they don't know how dangerous it is. You may go and you never return.
Come back. Yeah.
So, what should we do? The first thing to do is to, first of all, as a single mom, is to first appreciate the importance of a man in the life of a child. Because many times we make what I will risk to call selfish decisions without thinking about our children. Yeah. Recently, I was hosted somewhere on one TV station, and I said, a man needs to realize that there are two roles here. There is the role of a husband, there is the role of a father. And then I said, when you have a challenge concerning the role of the husband, you and the wife, let it not affect your role as a father. Continue being a father as you sort out the issues with your wife. That could apply to the lady also. You have a challenge with me, right? but you are still a mother of the children. I am still the father of those children. So point one, first appreciate the importance of a man in the life of a child. And then secondly, stop glorifying intentional single motherhood.
It's a thing.
You see, I've said intentional because I know there are those who are single mothers because somebody died.
Yeah.
They are single mothers because they were raped. So sorry about that. There are those bad things that happen in our communities. There are those that are single mothers because the man left, abandoned her. So those are realities we have to live with. But I'm now not talking about those ones. I am now talking about the intentional single mother. Like that one who came to me for a seed. Who said, just, I need your gene, that's all. That one. And I can tell you, Lisa, it is on an increase. Sadly. So we should stop glorifying intentional single motherhood. Thinking it's famous, it is great, it's a mark of prestige.
I can do it.
I can do it.
Independent.
That is not right.
It's not God's will.
It's not even God's will. And it is going to stress you. It's a matter of time. One of them confessed to me recently. I put something on my WhatsApp status concerning this. And she came to my inbox. She's a personal friend, so we talk a lot. And she said, Samuel, you are so right. You know, you see us, the single mothers, in public. We are making noise. We are looking like, man,
everything is good.
Yes. Then she said, but in our small rooms, we are crying alone at night. That's what she told me. And I believe she represents many single mothers. So those single mothers who have become single mothers intentionally, we will not glorify you. And so when we are asking, what should you do? Stop glorifying your condition. Just know it is not a right condition. You need somebody to tell you that. So that you know that the situation you are in, for you as a person, it may look or be normal. For your children, it is extremely abnormal. It is a selfish decision. Having said that, thirdly, we need to speak positively even about the father who left. And I know that's now a big challenge. And I say this really with some level of, empathy and sympathy, because this man left you, so now you are a single mother. But now what I'm calling you forth to do is to do the best that you can, to still speak positively about the father of your children in their hearing. Because the moment you keep saying, don't even ask me about your father was a fool, was a stupid nincompoop, he was a discombobulated, nonsensical man who was just trousers. Every time he was here, I was in a state of sorority, though there were some small symptoms trying to symbolize my ambosity. Never to talk to me about your stupid dad. Man, do you know what you've just done? You've just disfigured the identity of a man in their life. You've just made your daughter hate the future husband in advance. You've just made your son feel so nothing because now that's the picture of the man he has gotten. So make sure as a single mother that you try the best you can. It will be difficult until maybe sometimes you overcome emotionally, but try to still speak positively about the father who left. But also in addition, if the man did not die, if he's out of the picture just because there was a conflict and like they say in central Uganda, and you left, find some way how to bring him back into the picture.
Of the child.
Bring him back into the picture. I know where you're going with that addition, but I'm saying bring him back.
Of the child, of the mother, just bring him back
into the picture. So it's up to you to see where he will stop, but at least make sure he's in the picture of the children.
Oh my God,
That's important as a single mother. If that man is still alive, around, and somehow willing to be back, please bring him into the picture for the sake of the generations after you, for the sake of the name of your family, some 50 years from now, 100 years from now, when they are saying that one is a grandchild, is a great-grandchild of, then they say your name, and it is in reference to that boy who has just shot some 50 people at a rally. He is being taken to prison, and they are mentioning your name. just because there wasn't a father in the picture, because you had no humility to realize that you also made a mistake, the other person also made a mistake, but for the sake of the generations and the legacy of this family and your name, you need to bring the father back into the picture. Where the far he will go is up to you, but make sure at least he comes as far as your children are concerned. They need him, even if he's looking like what? They need identity. Do you know what it means? I saw something on WhatsApp recently. It was circulating. It was a girl. It was in a video, actually, a small video clip. She was crying, saying, "My name is so and so. I am looking for my father. My mother told me that he was called so and so, that he was coming from this and this place. I've never seen him in my life. Anybody who knows him, tell him I just need to have a belonging, as a family where you belong." Now for you as a single mom, you're busy talking about whatever you're talking about. You don't know the pain the child will be harboring. You don't know, and you will never understand it. So you need to ensure that proactively you don't let your children go through that pain. But in addition, still talking about when this father is out of the picture and what you can do as a single mom, it is very important that you expose them to the father, to the fatherless. Isaiah chapter 54 verse, there is a common one. Let me begin with a common one. Isaiah 54:17 is a common one, which says, "No weapon fashioned against you shall prosper, and every tongue that rises against you in judgment you shall condemn, for that is the heritage you have as a child of God." That's verse 17. But there is a little known verse 13, which is very powerful, where the Bible says, "And your children shall be taught by the Lord." So, if the father is not there in the picture, can you introduce them to the one who is the father to the fatherless? Can you introduce them to the one who said he will teach them? Can you introduce them to the Word of God? Can you introduce them to the Bible? Can they find a father in the Bible? I found one. When I had just lost my father 26 years ago, somebody came to me and found me crying. I was in senior one. I think senior one. It was a year after I had lost my father. And he spoke to me, an old man, and he encouraged me. And he told me that I would actually grow up, that I would actually also become somebody. That actually even if my father is not there, something good will happen to me. He used the simple words to encourage me, a 12-and-a-half-year-old boy. And then he shared a scripture in the Bible which has never left my mind. These are now 26 years down the road. Psalm 27 verse 10, which says, "Even if my father and mother abandon me, the Lord will take care of me." That has been an anchor for me for the last 26 years. Can you introduce your children to the father, to the fatherless? Let me sober you up in case you really need this sobering up. You will do your best like my mother did her best. She did her best. That woman is a hero. She did her best. We cooperated with her, but she could never become my father. There are things that she could never do for me as a young man. She could teach me, put me down, cane me, do this and that, and also sometimes throw her frustrations on me, transfer the anger that she had on us, the children. But she would never teach me how to be a man. I can assure you, you are not a man as a single mom. You will never become a man, and there are things you will never be able to do because you are not a man. That's why my next point comes in. If you are a single mom and you really want to ensure that this father void is filled, introduce your children to some good, positive male mentors in their life. There are some good men around us. They are there, and they are willing to pour themselves into the life of the fatherless. They are willing to create an hour a month to meet your child. Somebody just gave me that prestigious responsibility in her home. I thank you, Priska, some friend of mine, who lost the husband some years ago. And now the sons are in their 20s, and she feels, you get the point? Yeah. So she said, "Hey, help. I know you. I've known you for many years. I felt I needed to introduce you to my sons and walk with them if you don't mind. And we now have a plan. So introduce your children to positive male role models or mentors who can walk with them and share their life. Those male mentors of integrity. Don't just throw your children anywhere.
Anywhere, by the way, you cripple them.
You may throw them out of a frying pan into the fire. Yeah. But then second last, there are some places where you find that they have organized mentorship classes for young people.
Yeah.
Send them to those mentorship classes. Send them to those youth camps, especially where you have done your due diligence and you know in that camp they are safe. Because again, the enemy is alive and awake. Sometimes the enemy organizes youth camps, organizes... I'm telling you, the enemy organizes mentorship programs. And I know one of them. I know one of them in this city. I will not say the side of the city.
You will tell me.
Just in the case it isn't the only, place in that. But I know a place where really the enemy has organized the mentorship program. Yes.
Be wise. Watch and pray.
And these young people go there. Then they spend how many months? A program of how many months? But I know that
it's off.
So send them to mentorship seminars or camps that are safe. And finally, pray for God's guidance. I can say all these things, but some of them may not work for you. But God, when He gives you guidance, it will always work for you. So as a single mom, be prayerful. Have a strong relationship with not only one who said, I am the father to the fatherless, but he also said, I am the defender of the widows. So if you feel like a widow, whether your husband is dead or still alive but moved away, can you also attach yourself to this heavenly God who actually looks after not only the orphans but also the women that are struggling? Please do. So pray for God's guidance.
Amazing. And you had talked about something critical there when you mentioned the example of the girl who was calling on to her father wherever he was. You know, what's the role? You know, we always hear daddy's girl, daddy's girl. Dads and their daughters.
What about moms and their sons?
It doesn't win dads and daughters.
Really?
You know? So what's the place of, because we know that identity, what does the father have to do? You know, that role in ensuring that girl grows up secure in that identity, so that even when a man comes, she knows that views. Her father has put her in that right place.
Good question. I hear two things. I hear the aspect of identity. I hear the aspect also of modeling good thoughts and views about a man. So let me look at them separately. When you talk about identity, a man is very critical in helping the girl to clarify her identity. And partly because men somehow want to please women and women want to please men. So whereas the man is busy trying to raise a man out of his boy, there is this girl who is also craving for the attention of the man in the home. It is natural. And that's why we should do what I'm about to tell you as men. So as a man, you can help the girl to clarify the identity, first of all, by speaking positively into her life. Speak positively into her life. Speak positive things. What do you see in her? Speak positively into her life. It helps her to capture her identity progressively. But also affirm her femininity. If she does something that is truly feminine, whatever it is, whether you find her, if she's a very young one and she's busy playing with dolls and holding them well. Affirm that. Say, wow, you held your baby well. Thank you for not throwing your baby down. And that reminds me, the dolls we buy for our children. Before I continue with this, you find you're buying dolls of children, and you give to your girl, and then you buy cars, guns for your boy. So how are you shaping that young boy? And then later when he becomes violent, when visitors come, he's throwing their glasses of juice away and you're saying, oh man, no, now, what has happened to this child? No, you have programmed him subconsciously through the toys you gave him. Anyway, back to the point, affirm her femininity. When she does something that is womanly, that is feminine, affirm it. And thirdly, have a family vision. it helps so much to have a family vision because it is a strong indicator of saying, we are blah, 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 blah. This is who we are. And we are talking about a sense of identity of the girl. So you should ensure that in your home as a man, you have a vision for your family, because that will rub off well on giving specifically this girl a sense of identity. Because the vision is, this is where we are going, this is who we are. For example, in the Bakutana family, our vision is simple. We say it is a hug of leaders. HUG. We work a lot with acronyms to help us memorize things. So HUG, HUG, we say we are a healthy, united, and godly family of leaders. That's the family vision of the Bakutanas. So that gives them some identity of, I am a healthy person. I am a godly lady. I am a leader. You know, it keeps giving her that identity. Not only the vision, but also clarify the family values. Because the family values, what they say is, we behave this way. So that's again a part of identity. Besides that, it's important to help her to identify her strengths and her talents and gifts. They are part of her identity. So when you see her doing something good, doing it well, strong at it, identify it, say it to her, speak it back to her. Sometimes we do things we don't know we are doing. And when somebody tells you you are doing them, say, oh, okay, oh, wow. Now you take it on, you even do it better, you put in more effort, you look for information about it. So there somebody has educated you, educare, pull out, draw out. You see that? Exactly. Now that's the side of identity. Now this side of helping the girl to have a better view of a man. The father plays a very big role in doing that. To begin with, the father needs to be conscious that he is the first man in her life. I one time hosted some 2 girls on TV. God bless you, Vania. Wow, they shared things about fathers. One of them said, Rita said, you know what, Uncle Sam, they call me Uncle Sam. He said, let me tell you something, Uncle Sam. Fathers have broken our hearts more than our boyfriends. What a statement. That fathers have broken our hearts more than our boyfriends. What does that mean? Why is she juxtaposing a father and a boyfriend?
Putting them in the same year.
Why? She's doing it unconsciously or subconsciously. But she's simply saying, Dad, you are my first love. You are the first man I saw. You are the man I lived with. So if we are to help them get better views about who a man is, we need to remember that we are the first men in their lives. And not to break their hearts. It was an emotional moment for me when she mentioned that statement. You know. And then also, thirdly, as a man, I need to demonstrate what a good father looks like. Father. Because this girl will start to look at the dad and feel that this is how fathers should do things. So if she later meets somebody who behaves like you, she may go with that one. So you better be a good one, so that when she marries somebody who is like dad, she is safe in her marriage.
Because we always look for the familiar.
Oh, that's a powerful principle that you've just stated. We always look for the familiar. Yes, we do. So not only father, but also be careful what kind of a husband you are modeling. And besides that, you need to treat her with love and dignity even as a young girl. You need to see me sometimes when I am opening doors for my girl. Yes, because I treat her as a woman. She is a woman. There is a friend of mine called Linda Mwesugwa. One time, we were transitioning our daughter, you know, when she was getting into adolescence, when she was hitting her 13th
You were transitioning her.
Yes. We had a function, and that friend of mine, Linda, looked at the whole thing and she said, what is going on here? You know why? Because that day I made a proclamation, a declaration. I said, from today, my daughter, you are no longer a child. Today, I hereby give you a new title. You are now young woman. And we had printed out a certificate that was saying, let it be known to all men and women all over the world that on this this 9th day of July 2023, Ahumuza Petra Bakutana has been duly transitioned into being young woman. From today onwards, she deserves to be treated as such. Signed by Dad, family leader.
You're serious?
And then we spoke upon her life.
Yeah.
You know, I proclaimed the fatherly blessing. She also made some commitments as she gets into the new season as an adolescent. And let me tell you, Lisa, we sometimes joke with these things, but ever since that time, I see a more mature young woman in my home. I see how she behaves. I see the way she speaks. She got it, that she's now no longer a child. She is now young woman. So the point here is, treat her with love and dignity if you want her to have a good picture of a man. But maybe let me end with this. Finally, protect her from potential abuse. Because you may go with her, maybe to your other fellow men. You just never know who those people are. Many times, our children who have been abused by people closest to us, have been abused by our relatives, our brothers and sisters, abused by our best friends. I recently heard a story which was nerve-wracking, where this lady was going to get married, and just 3 days to the wedding, 3 days, 1 to 3 days to the wedding, the matron gets onto the aeroplane and flies away, goes to do her business. And she didn't even talk with the Mugole. They had even measured the clothes, they had worked on everything. And somebody who saw her at the airport called the Mugole and said,
"But wait,
your wedding is this Saturday?" Yes, and
correct.
This was a Thursday. Said, "Where is so and so? Your matron?" Said, "She's around. We have even finished the clothes already." Said, "I saw her boarding the plane. You better be sure she's returning tomorrow." And she never returned. I mean, the friends we have sometimes, they can be a big trouble, big problem. So ensure that your girl is protected from those ones. Do it to the best of your ability.
Wow.
Yes.
Oh, you have spoken so well. Like, I'm just like, I wish all men would be watching this video like this, like immediately, like, oh my God. And now as we get to conclude, what advice would you give to men? You know, those final tips that you want to share with men?
First, hold my hand and I tell you why.
Okay.
Thank you for keeping on using the word encourage as you're talking about men.
Yeah.
We need that mindset shift as a community, as a society. So thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. May your man be a blessing in your own life.
Amen, I declare it.
So what advice do I give? One, as men, we need to know that we are stewards of God's children. The children we have are not ours. We were only conduits through whom the children came onto the earth. God, in His mercy and grace, decided that Petra and Prosper will be downloaded onto earth through the Bakutanas. But we don't own those children. They are not ours. We are in a stewardship role. And so that should remind us that there is a time for accountability. You know, there are 4 things. There is ownership, there is stewardship, there is responsibility, and there is accountability. Let me explain in that order. You need to know who owns what. We are not owners. The Creator is the owner. Is the owner of this world, is the owner of the people therein. In fact, there is a verse to that effect. Psalm 24 verse 1. That the whole world belongs to the Lord and the people therein. So these children, we don't own them. That's ownership. So number 2 comes in, stewardship. We are stewards. A steward is a caretaker. A steward is somebody who looks after on behalf of. So those children, we don't own them. We are stewards, we are caretakers, right? And then therefore, number 3, responsibility. We must take responsibility for them. We must handle them responsibly. And for accountability, there will be a day to give a report. That day will come. That day will come. My wife started on a book called The Marriage Report. I think I should also write the parenting report.
Yes, please.
And there will be a time when you will have to answer. So we need to remember that as fathers, that we are stewards of the children that God has graciously entrusted us with. Because they are men who have done everything possible together with their wives. They have somersaulted 22 times and did market tricks. They still don't have children. Don't think it's because of your skill in some part of your house that has given you children. Forget about it. A friend of mine, oh, my wonderful close friend, has been looking forward to children for close to 15 years. They just got their baby now. We were all in praise of the Almighty. But what is it that they were not doing? They were doing everything all of us have been doing. Know that you are a steward as a man. But then secondly, know that it is possible to be a good father. Believe that it's possible for you to be a good father. It's more than possible. It doesn't matter what kind of a father you had, it matters what kind of a father you will be to your children. It doesn't matter where you came from, it matters where you're going. How you started is not an indictment of how you will end. You cannot go back and have a brand new past, but you can start from here and have a brand new future. So believe it is possible to be a good father. It is very possible. I never saw my father hold the hand of my mother and walk around for an evening walk. I never heard him telling my mother, I love you. I don't remember him, by the way, telling me something positive for the few years we were together, for the 11 and a half years we were together. Many memories I have are not that good, glorious. So I could as well use that as an excuse.
Yes.
As you see, I never saw my father. So there are even those who say, now like my father, by the way, one of the reasons why we went through those challenges is because he was polygamous. So somebody can come up and say, I mean, for me, it's in my blood. My father was polygamous. I can't be with one woman.
That is it. It's who I am.
The biggest definition of maturity is responsibility. You have to take responsibility for your own life now. Start now and know that you can be a good father. It's more than possible. But also, be kind to yourself when things don't happen the way you would like them to happen. We will make mistakes. Mistakes are normal. They are human. They are natural. They happen. In fact, many times, it is through mistakes that we innovate, that we create, that we come up with new ideas, that we find new things other people didn't know. They say that in fine art, a mistake is a new design. If you were trying to draw a flower and then you come like this, and when you reach here, somebody pushes you on the table and there is a line that goes down. You now look at that line and say, so what can we, now let me put a stick, that there was a stick leaning near the flower. So now you also draw the stick out of the new mistake. It becomes a new design. So be kind to yourself when you make some mistakes along the journey of fatherhood, because all of us make those mistakes. We all make those mistakes. There was a time when I realized I was making a terrible mistake as a father, and I didn't know about it. I wasn't conscious about it. I got to know it when I sat down with my daughter and my son and asked them, as your father, what do you feel I should change? And they gave me interesting responses. And I will tell you this, for me, I share these things because I don't mind sharing my personal life experiences. One of the things my daughter told me, she said, I think when you get to punish Prosper, my young brother, you use too much energy for his age. Wow. Think about that. So I realized I was making a mistake, and realized it from my daughter. And from that day onwards, I learned how to do this better. So when you make mistakes, it's part of life. Be kind to yourself. Just don't repeat the mistake, the same mistake. When you do it for the first time, it's a mistake. Second time, okay, mistake. But third time, that's a decision. That's a habit. On top of this, I pray that as fathers we will be lifelong learners of parenting. Because like I said a few minutes ago, we were not born as good fathers. Nobody is. We keep learning. The way we learn how to drive a car, how to ride a bicycle, how to play a guitar, how to swim, how to bake a cake, how to open a WordPress blog, how to, how to do all these things that we do. how to be an expert at hosting people like Lisa. You know, she was not born doing this awesome work as she does. I believe you learned along the way. Maybe there was passion, but you nurtured it, you watered it, you irrigated it to be able to be the awesome host that you honestly are.
Oh, thank you.
You know, so as men, we need to be lifelong learners. It's very, very important. Learn through books, go for parenting seminars, learn from good fathers who went before you. Learn. Keep learning. Please stop this. Let me call it what I feel it should be called. Don't like sugarcoating things. Stop this nonsense of saying that men are born knowing these things. Oh, brother, you don't know these things.
You don't know.
Calm down, go and learn. A few years ago, I was coming from Nigeria. I was speaking in a 1-week-long business and leadership conference. And I came back with 47 books and 14 DVDs for my own personal growth. 47 books. I didn't bring them to sell them. Brought them to read them. And more than 10 of them were on marriage and parenting. And I read them, and they built me, and they made me better. And when at the beginning of this program, Lisa said that rumor has it that I am a good father, I just don't want to sound what I keep running away from, you know, affirming it. But I know that I'm doing many intentional things as a father. You get the point. I know that I'm doing some intentional things as a father. I'm doing some intentional things. And I only learned them from some of those books, from other men around me, etc. And on that note, one other thing as we come to the close of this that could happen is that we need to join groups of men that are intentional about good marriages and good parenting. You can't do these things when you are in isolation, when you are alone. And that's why I would like to request the fathers who are watching us today to get out of the circle of peer ignorance. Get out of the circle of peer ignorance. I'm calling it peer ignorance because many times you find you are 27 years of age, you have one child or you have 2 children, and all the people around you are 27-year-old, 25-year-old, 28-year-old. In your circle, you don't have a 35-year-old who is sensible. You don't have a 42-year-old who is sober. You don't have a 56-year-old who is a great man of wonderful experience. You don't have any 60-year-old man from whom you can learn. You are in a circle of peer ignorance. Because the years you've spent on earth are the same years that fellow young man has spent on earth.
So you
really don't say what do you know. They know.
Something.
Yes. But I can assure you, there are experiences you have not experienced. Together with your peer mates, your age mates, you need to get out of the circle of peer ignorance. So as men, we really need to put hand to shovel and make sure that things really happen. So we can do much and we can achieve a lot.
Amazing.
Yes, we can.
And somehow do you want to be remembered by your children?
I want to be remembered by my children specifically as this guy in the home who was so in love with their mom. It's one huge thing I want them to
remember.
The memory. I want them to keep saying, mommy and daddy. That's one. But also I want them to remember me as a father who was present, who valued them and showed them that he treasured them. And was present, was available. Maybe lastly, outside the home, I would like these children to remember me as a transformational leader who impacted nations.
Wow.
Yeah.
Guys, I hope you had notebooks and pens because the lessons were many. I want to watch this episode with Steve. So that we watch together and be like, wow, this is amazing, you know? Thank you so much for being here.
It's my pleasure.
This is our Father's Day gift to you. Don't be looking, I didn't get a gift for Father's Day. This is it. Just watch this video. This is gift enough, I'm telling you, because this can save so many families.
Oh yes, generations.
I'm telling you. So we are honored to have you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you again.
And thank you so much too for the work that you're doing. To decide that you're going to focus on the sanctity, the strength, and the dignity of the family. I am telling you, it's extremely noble. I talked about the 7 mountains of influence at the start. Remember, each of the other 6 comes from the family.
Yeah.
You come from family to go to the media. You come from family to go to education, to the school. You come from family to go to politics and governance.
Yeah.
You come from a family to go to the arts, culture, sports and entertainment. You come from a family to go to the religious place. Everything comes from a family going to the rest of the world.
Yeah.
And that's why John Maxwell says, if your leadership has failed at home, don't export it anywhere else.
Don't bother.
Because if it has not worked at home, where are you going to put it? Home is the foundational institute for people development, for leadership transformation, for community engagement. If it doesn't start at home, we won't find it elsewhere. That's why I think, allow me, end with this very important clarion call for all mothers and all fathers, especially those who are in the marketplace, professionals, corporates. We need to know, concerning this topic we've been talking about today, we need to know that success in your workplace cannot substitute failure in your own home. Success in your workplace cannot substitute failure in your own home. Just because you were, singled out as the employee of the month, of the year, my dear sister, it doesn't mean that now you are the mother of the year. You are not. Until you go back home and work on things that you have to do at home. Just because you were given, that medal as the MD of the year, professional man of the year, mention it, whatever you can mention it, as your brothers, my fellow man, does not substitute the fact that your children are being lost to drugs because you're not available for them.
Yeah.
So we must go and begin from where it actually begins, at home. Yes, if we are successful at home, it will overflow into the marketplace. It was Bobby Clinton who made a research a few years ago, and they pointed out the top 1,000 key influential leaders of the 20th century on all continents of the world. The likes of Billy Graham, the likes of Mahatma Gandhi, the likes of Nelson Mandela, that caliber of men. And they did a research to know how they ended in life. It was sad to know that only 1 out of 3 leaders ended well. Only 33%. A whooping 66% of leaders ended badly in their life. It's not enough that you start well. It's important that you end well and end strongly. And they gave 6 factors why they did not end well. Be careful of them. Number 1 was abuse of money. Number 2 was abuse of power. Number 3 was sex, when you don't zip up. Number 4 was family conflicts that are not resolved, that later they overflow into your workplace. And then number 5 was what they called inordinate pride and arrogancy. And the last one was what they called plateauing, whereby you come growing, and then you reach a point where you are now a raised flat land. You no longer grow, you no longer read any book, you don't need anybody to advise you. Finally, the mountain goes down. It's important that we start at home. Otherwise,
wow, Sam, where can people find you? You've talked about your business, you've talked about, everything. How do we get in touch? Because, it would be if we have left this place without telling people how to continue this journey.
Thank you very much for that question.
Yeah.
They are here watching me on YouTube. Immediately after this program, just go up. Do you see up where there is search? So just type in a search app and put somewhere A Bakutana, and then click search. You are going to find many other videos of my presentations, programs, and so on and so forth. So many of them. And if you want the ones that are specifically related to this very topic, you put somewhere A Bakutana, then add inspired family leader. So if you put somewhere A Bakutana, inspired family leader, you will now find many videos that are related with fatherhood, with marriage, with parenting, and so on and so forth. That aside, my number is +256. That's the country code for Uganda. +256 782 163416. Let me say it one more time. The country code +256 782 163416. So it's been a pleasure being here, Lisa. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you so much.
You're changing lives.
Thank you so much, guys. My name is Lisa Kusima. As always, I'm here to inspire.